Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for your Chelsea news here on the 10th of July this afternoon. If you want to see this morning's video, we were talking about how, or not so how, but why Chelsea can win the Club World Cup this weekend against Paris Saint-Germain. But today, in this news video, we are going to talk about Rodrygo. And I'm going to say it now because on GBFC, right, I don't really care if I get predictions wrong because this channel isn't like an in-the-know channel. This isn't a place where I've got like loads of insider information. Although sometimes I do hear things, right? And that's part of the reason why I wanted to be at this Club World Cup this year, be on the ground and try and be close to things, okay? And just to clarify, I'm not paid to be here by the club. I'm not even invited to be here by Chelsea Football Club. I've been working with DAZN, who are the broadcasters. So you can get that nonsense out your mouths already. But I'm going to tell you today why I think Chelsea are signing Rodrygo. And if you look at the money that we've already earned from this competition, in excess of $100 million. And I think Chelsea, as a result of seeing what we have seen in the US so far, Cole Palmer's face is everywhere. It's in Times Square. It's all over billboards, all over adverts, over all of the cities that I've been in. And the Chelsea support, if you actually look around the stadiums, Chelsea's support in this tournament has grown exponentially game by game. And that isn't just about the attendances. I'm talking about the percentage of each stadium that is filled with Chelsea shirts. So Chelsea during this Club World Cup, is as a marketing exercise, this has skyrocketed everyone's understanding and knowledge of who Chelsea are in the United States of America. Now, from a marketing standpoint, okay, we'll talk about this in a second, but let's just quickly now go through the news here regarding Rodrygo. This is the latest from Fabrizio Romano. Direct meeting for Rodrygo's future will take place next week as Real Madrid are open to letting him leave. Real will leave the final decision to the Brazilian. Rodrygo won't join Al Nassr, never a topic or even a negotiation, despite reports full focus on Europe. So, what we've seen from Rodrygo in this competition this summer is that he's not part of Xabi Alonso's plans. Every single press conference, Xabi Alonso is coming out there and saying, technical decision, technical decision. What that means in basic footballing terms is, not interested. Real Madrid last night were dismantled. They discombobulated, to use Matisse's favourite word, against PSG. And as much as, you know, I don't think Rodrygo would have made too much of a difference. I think that was very much defensive Real Madrid errors and a world-class Paris Saint-Germain side. Rodrygo's not played. Like, he's had a couple of minutes off the bench, but we're talking like minuscule moments. And he's definitely going to be leaving Real Madrid. So when it comes to Chelsea here, right, going back to this idea of marketing, I wanted you to kind of just keep that in the back of your head. Todd Boehly was the one that wanted to sign marquee players. When Chelsea's new ownership first came in, we always were told that it was Boehly that wanted to go down the let's buy some like big superstar players, and then it was more the Clear Lake side that wanted to go down the model of the younger players and whatnot. But when you do so well in a competition like this, when you can literally, I can see it with my very eyes inside the stadiums, how much Chelsea's presence has grown purely by being in this competition in the United States of America, which is a massive market. We've got Cole Palmer's face everywhere, but Rodrygo is another outright superstar. So I'm not just talking complete waffle nonsense here, right? If we'd have got knocked out in the group stage, you wouldn't see me on GBFC saying, yeah, I think Chelsea could and should and shall be in for Rodrygo. But I'm saying it as an opinion that I'm more than happy to get shut down with. I don't care if people come at me and saying, you were wrong. I don't care. This channel is about what I think, what I want, and what I would like for Chelsea Football Club. And I'm really happy to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. And I'm not just going to just throw Rodrygo's name out there because it's a big name that everybody knows. I want to bring up this bad boy again. We did this the other day. If you didn't see that video, I'll also link that in the description or put it as a card on the screen. But if we had Rodrygo, this is what our attacking depth would look like. And I'm still basing this off of the idea that we sell Nicholas Jackson. If you see at the top here, I still think Jackson could go. But if he doesn't go, then either way, Rodrygo can still definitely be an option. So if Rodrygo signs, then I think the pecking order, when it comes to the left midfield, would look a little bit more like this. Tyreek George would then become a number 3, which probably means he'd go out on loan. Rodrygo would be the new signing, which is the yellow circle, and then he would become the starter. But you can also see here, João Pedro can absolutely play as a number 10. And what I want to show you now, to make this make a bit more sense, is Chelsea's average positions against Fluminense. Because what we saw was kind of something like a 3-1-6 formation. And it's Marc Cucurella, instead of Cucurella inverting, what you get with that is Malo Gusto predominantly being more of an advanced right back / wing back. But you can see here, Gusto was playing the majority of the game in the Fluminense half on the wing. When you look at João Pedro, he's absolutely everywhere. But what this formation allows Chelsea to do is get more attacking players in more free, prominent positions. Christopher Nkunku was also very advanced, and Pedro Neto was holding that width on the left-hand side because he had Marc Cucurella protecting him behind. And then you've got the likes of Tosin and Trevor Chalobah and Moises Caicedo dominating the middle for Chelsea. So when you've got Rodrygo in your team, who, remember, right, Rodrygo is still a superstar. He's a Galactico. He's at Real Madrid. But he's playing second fiddle to Mbappe. Soon as Mbappe goes anywhere, it ruins a lot of players. And for Rodrygo, it's not ruined him, but it's ruined his opportunities. So if I bring this up again here for Chelsea, let me show you this one a bit more. Rodrygo can not only play on the left wing, where he'd obviously want to play and be a starter, could also be an option through the middle, could also maybe be an option in the 10, but then we would never need him there because you'd have Palmer, Pedro, Esteval, and an option on the right wing. So when you're looking at this, Chelsea signing Rodrygo, we've got another option in centre forward if we need to play a false 9 at any point, or if something was to happen, heaven forbid, to any of the others. You've also got an option on the right. This would give Chelsea the perfect glove on flipping hand player. Rodrygo is an elite footballer. And we've heard from the start of the summer, Chelsea will explore market opportunities, right? Now take of that whatever you will. Some people don't really like that phrase. I don't really like it either, to be honest, especially when Mike Maignan was an opportunity, but we turned our nose up at him. Rodrygo is 24. Has won multiple Champions Leagues, scores goals in the Champions League, is a big game player, and would honestly make Chelsea, from what I've seen from João Pedro, I think he would put us in a title conversation. I mean it. I seriously do. So with the money that we're going to make from this competition, from the expansion of Chelsea's presence in the United States and seeing the influence that kind of marketing has, this is how you escalate that. This kind of signing is how you take what we've experienced in the last month, and you kind of sugarcoat it a little bit to keep it for longer. Chelsea, right now, we've got a very exciting young squad. We've got an incredible midfield. Let me show you it again. Enzo Fernandez, world-class. Caicedo, world-class. Santos, Lavia, Isugo. Lost my voice there for a second. Brilliant young players as well that could all become world-class. Cucurella, left-back. Yes, we still need a new left-back. We're not going to go through this again. We've done a video on it already. But Rodrygo is going to leave Real Madrid. This is the player Chelsea need. I'm saying it now, and I think we're going to go for him. The wages. I know that a lot of you guys will have been lost right at the start because you're like, Benson, they're not going to play the wages. Well, Rodrygo doesn't want to go to Saudi. Let's see who else goes in for him. Could be Man City, could be Liverpool, but Chelsea have made a lot of money. So maybe we look at this and we look at the squad and we're like, this is the kind of player that we do offer a bit more for. Even within the structure, you've got to have someone who is one of the highest paid players. And I don't see this team right now with the togetherness that we've got. People look at it and say, well, it can go one of two ways. In my opinion, it can go one of two ways. You could get Rodrygo in on, let's say, a lot more than the top high wage earner right now. And people would be like, nah, this is not fair. I'm not happy with this. Or the people that are not happy with it would look at it and be like, okay, well, Rodrygo puts this squad in a position where instead of just like hoping we get top 4, I might win a title next year. We're all on performance-based wage structure, right? The more we win, the higher people get paid. So it's a catch-22. I completely understand that it could look ridiculous based on the wage structure that Chelsea might even go for Rodrygo. I'm telling you, I think we will. I really do think we will. Let's move now into the next piece of news regarding goalkeepers, okay? So, Mike Pender's loan to Strasbourg is getting closer. First of all, this makes a lot of sense for Penders because he didn't even get a sniff, not even 1 minute on the pitch, apart from the warm-ups the other day in the Club World Cup. Robert Sanchez is Chelsea's number one right now. That is still baffling to me and a lot of other people, especially when we had that market opportunity. Hate saying it, but it's what it is. It's the truth. With Mike Maignan. So if Mike Penders gets loaned out at Chelsea, that leaves us only with Sanchez and Jorgensen. There's not a single part of me that believes that this can be Chelsea's goalkeeping situation going into the season. Maybe we do promote another young keeper, but I'm almost convinced that Chelsea will be in the market for another goalkeeper. But right now, we're obviously so focused on this Club World Cup. And Sanchez isn't doing that bad. I mean, he had a bit of a howler almost the other day. If we'd have conceded a goal and it wasn't for Marc Cucurella, I'd have been like, bro, like, come on, you've been doing all right recently. Why'd you have to bring out another one of those? Another clanger? But I still think if Penders does go, Chelsea will need to sign another keeper. Because I don't think... I mean, it could be Slanina, maybe. Like, we've got young, youthful keepers at the club. But I still don't think the other two are going to challenge for a Premier League title either. So I still think another goalkeeper will join Chelsea this summer. Now, we also need to talk about Arsenal here and Madueke. We need to talk about Arsenal and Eze because these two deals potentially for Arsenal... Noni Madueke, who we spoke about this yesterday, Chelsea, the initial bid from Arsenal was 50 million. That's the initial bid. So if Chelsea reject that 50 million, that's the negotiating start point. Arsenal might just drop out now that they see this Rodrygo news. Then they might be like, all right, you know what? Screw it. We'll go for Rodrigo instead of Noni Madueke. But I think for Arsenal, if it is Madueke and Eberici Eze, which this is the latest from Ben Jacobs on Eze, Arsenal expected to approach Palace to formally discuss Eze. Palace attack is still high in AFC's thinking as revealed. It follows positive talks with the player camp. Eze separate to Noni Madueke talks. So I think Arsenal will go in for both. I think Arsenal will look at Eze and Madueke and be like, could probably get these two on similar wages to just Rodrygo. Rodrygo might end up dropping his wages if he wants to stay in Europe, potentially, and there's no big money suitors. Maybe PSG go for him. Maybe Liverpool go for him. Maybe City do. But at the moment, Arsenal were heavily interested, but they've gone down that path of Noni Madueke and Eberici Eze. And according to all sources at the moment, it isn't Eze or Madueke, it's Eze and Noni Madueke, which is why I think Chelsea will go in for Rodrigo. And also for Arsenal, they've got their hands and fingers in a lot of pies right now because this is the latest on Viktor Gyökeres. Karma about the Gyökeres story. There was a crazy excitement on Sunday, and I understand that because Arsenal made important progress, Arsenal are in very advanced talks for Gyökeres, and that doesn't change. It remains advanced, it remains concrete, it remains absolutely on. So the latest there is obviously Viktor Gyökeres isn't going to go back and train with Sporting Lisbon. He's basically just thrown in the towel and said, I am leaving the club this summer. Arsenal and Sporting are in negotiations, but Sporting are wanting the structure of the deal to be a little bit different. So right now, Arsenal are hell-bent on getting that Viktor Gyökeres deal done. And with Eze and Madueke, I'm telling you now, this video has been predominantly the Rodrigo to Chelsea video. And I've done this in the past, right? If you've been watching GBFC for quite some time, we were very much right on board the Kai Havertz to Chelsea train, the Timo Werner to Chelsea train. And sometimes, right, it is logic. In this case right now, logic kind of goes against me a little bit because of the wage structure, because of what Rodrigo is getting paid right now by Real Madrid. But I seriously can see us going for this. And all of the additionals, like the money we've made from the Club World Cup, like the marketing that I spoke about today and how our faces are now plastered all over New York City because we're doing very well, because we can clearly see with this Enzo Maresca system. If I bring this one up again, right? Rodrigo absolutely fits into this team. If you look at what the starting 11 showed, it showed a 4-3-3, but it looked like a 3-1-6, where Gusto was up here on the right, and Nkunku then filling in, Pedro central as well, Neto out wide. Enzo, we know, likes to attack. So does Palmer. Caicedo would just sit there in front of a back three, which would have been Trevor Chalobah, Tosin and Cucurella, who I have circled right here. Let me just move this over. Perfect for Rodrigo. Neto moving over to the right. Nkunku is immediately replaced by João Pedro, right? In terms of where these players could possibly play in an inside of a 3-1-6. And then you can put Rodrygo on the left, the right, or as a centre forward. Honestly, I've been waffling at the end of this video a bit today, but the news is Rodrigo is leaving Real Madrid. So let's see what happens. Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments down below, and I'll see you all later. Come on, you Blues.